someone accidentally threw away the school play costumes,
Oh no!
replacements were shipped with FedEx. And with picture proof of delivery, everyone could focus on the perfect opening night. FedEx, where now meets next. For residential delivery only.
First, the bad news. SAP Business AI won't generate amusing holiday cards, but it will personalize career paths for your people and let you know which suppliers are best, so you can be ready for the next opportunity. Revolutionary technology, real-world results. That's SAP Business AI.
Welcome to NatureBacked podcast, where we are speaking with interesting investors and entrepreneurs about the green future. Today my guest is Arch from Wildchain, and we are meeting above the skies of Bangkok, looking at the sunny world around us. Arch, what is Wildchain?
So Wildchain it's a solution to get the general public more interested in protecting nature and helping to protect the world's last remaining species. So we use a combination of technologies, including blockchain, NFTs, gaming, gamification specifically, to raise funds and to raise awareness, to help these kind of like conservation projects that are desperately seeking support from the general public. Yeah.
How did you come up with the idea?
So our inspiration is, I think mostly two different inspirations from games. The first is Pokemon Go. And it was just a phenomenon back then, like a game that acquired billions of users within a year, right? And it actually got people walking like 4,000 steps more than usual in order to find rare Pokemons, right? And collect all the different Pokemons. And the question that I was asking was like, what if we can get people to do that much to protect the world's last remaining species? Now we're facing, like a huge biodiversity loss, possibly like another mass extinction, well, already in another mass extinction, and nobody knows about it. So this biodiversity issue is something that's really lacking in awareness and really desperately needing help. And if we continue on this path, it's going to be a huge problem down the line, right? That's the first one. The second one is CryptoKitties. And following that, we've seen a lot more NFT projects that have been able to raise so much money, right? With CryptoKitties, like I was just seeing people buy kitty NFTs for like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I was like, why are people not putting that much money in protecting real endangered animals, right? So combining these two ideas, it was based on like, how do we create adoptable NFTs featuring endangered animals and threatened species, and how do we create value for these adoptables? And so it's a combination of these two ideas. Actually, then came the third kind of concept, right? Which is, well, not concept, but like third game that inspired us. It's Tamagotchi, right? And it's something that a lot of us grew up with, so we combined this idea into Wildchain as well, and we wanted to create a digital sanctuary that exists on your mobile phone. And while you take care of this digital sanctuary, you're planting trees, you're removing traps, you're hiring rangers, you're making it rain, and all of that. in order to kind of create a beautiful forest, right? And the concept is that if your forest is biodiverse and has a high eco score, right? Then the animals that you own will show up in that forest and give you tokens. So you can basically take care of a forest and take care of your the different animals that you have, and interact with them and feel closer to them and kind of adopt these as digital pets. So that's kind of like the core idea of what we're doing. Within that sanctuary, as you are taking care of it, like the concept we're trying to integrate is having your in-game actions really impact the real world. So every tree that you plant in your digital sanctuary, we plant a tree in the real world. So it is also a symbol of your impact in the world. So as you're planting trees, you're actually contributing to real trees being planted. As you're hiring rangers in the game, we're actually paying rangers in the real world to protect these rare species. If you're expanding your land, we're protecting real, fragile ecosystems. So we're trying to integrate as much of the real impact as possible and gamifying that on your mobile phone, so that you can really feel like you're participating and having an impact and enjoying the process of making a difference. Yeah.
How far are you in creating this new Pokemon Go craze?
Yeah, it's been 2 years under development. It's bootstrapped. We haven't raised funds. We are planning to launch a token, but we did not want to launch a token first and then build a product. We wanted to actually build a working product first and then release a token. We have, so besides the game, we also have an NFT marketplace. And we've already released the NFT marketplace a few months ago. And every week we've been airdropping not really airdropping, we've been dropping a new NFT. So every week we're introducing one of the animals that will be featured in the game. And the game it's based on the African Savannah. That's where we're starting first. And we're basically, dropping giraffes and wild asses and riverine rabbits and cheetahs. And so we have we've been kind of growing a community of people who are basically every week coming to bid for the first of its kind, right? So it's the first of its kind NFTs of these rare species. And actually we also have some not rare species in there as well, it's a mix. So we've been doing that, and it's going well so far. But because we haven't really invested a lot in marketing, and promoting it, so it's been very organic.
The first of its kind, wouldn't the last of its kind make even more sense in your case?
The holidays start here at Kroger with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. You could do a classic herb-roasted turkey or spice it up and make turkey tacos. Serve up a go-to shrimp cocktail or use Simple Truth wild-caught shrimp for your first Cajun risotto. Make creamy mac and cheese or a spinach artichoke fondue from our selection of Murray's cheese. No matter how you shop, Kroger has all the freshest ingredients to embrace all your holiday traditions. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Yeah. So the idea is, we're launching with the first of its kind, right? And the first of its kind is actually going to fund Wildchain's development. And then one thing I forgot to mention, the animal populations that we are releasing is the exact same population as real world population. So if there are, for example, 4,000 cheetahs left in the world, then we will only ever have 4,000 cheetah NFTs in our game and on our blockchain. So that kind of creates this scarcity, but also kind of like sense of, like users having to protect it. Because actually, if the population increases, then what we think we're going to do, and this is still, to be confirmed, is like if it increases from 4,000 to 4,400, with this 400 new cheetahs, we're going to actually randomly airdrop to people who are taking care of cheetahs, right? So basically, it's like your cheetah can have a baby. Yeah. On the other hand, if the population of cheetahs decrease, then what we think we're going to do is we're actually going to mark some of the NFTs as deceased. So randomly, people who have not been taking good care of their cheetahs in their game, or haven't basically been contributing to protecting, nature, could lose their cheetah NFTs. So it creates this kind of balance so that people don't actively try to reduce the populations of animals in order to make their NFTs more expensive, because they could lose their entire investment. So I mean, there's also like other factors, right? Like if the cheetah population drops below a certain level, then it generally will just decline naturally until zero, right? So that's not the only factor preventing people from actively trying to reduce there is like the more there is of a species is generally better for its like long-term prospects.
So basically you are creating a digital twin of nature in cyberspace.
On the blockchain. So we call it a digital mirror of like the animal populations left in the world. And with this digital mirror, it's kind of like creating a two-way connection where the data of the real world feeds into the game, and the actions of the player in the game translates into like contributions in the real world, and hopefully impact that creates like a difference in that data that circles back into the game and kind of like, I mean, hopefully both flourishes, right? So it's a pretty complex idea, and that's why it's taken us so long to build it. And I mean, with also it being just bootstrapped, so
it takes more time than with a massive capital, of course.
Yeah, and I mean, we're just waiting for the market to recover as well, right?
It's a good time to build.
Yeah, it's the perfect time to build, and I would say now is the perfect time to launch as well, right? Because we're at the bottom of the market probably, and we're optimistic that the next few years is when the market comes back and people becomes excited again, and things. I mean, like NFT craze has kind of died down, right? But the problem with existing NFTs is that it doesn't really represent anything in the real world. The big kind of skepticism is that it's just a JPEG, right? And maybe it's a token for being part of a community, right? But we're hoping that NFTs, and I love the concept of NFTs, and I'm hoping that it can be something more than just that. And the most I guess like the lowest hanging fruit that I can think of, but also the most useful thing, is making NFTs like a representation of things that exist in the world, especially things that are currently undervalued and underfunded in the real world, and things that maybe people cannot currently take ownership of, right? And because there's no ownership, there's no investments going in to protect it. And I guess like that's why I think tokenizing nature is something that's like super interesting and could be groundbreaking. And I mean, I hope that this will take off, right?
Absolutely.
Hold music. You want to avoid it, and so do your customers. So say goodbye to hold music and hello to faster, smarter support with Salesforce. Make service more personal and agents more productive using built-in trusted AI. Then watch costs and wait times drop and satisfaction soar. Support customers in a whole new way with Service GPT. Learn how at salesforce.com/servicegpt.
Apple Card is the credit card created by Apple. You earn 3% daily cash back up front when you use it to buy a new iPhone 15, AirPods, or any products at Apple. And you can automatically grow your daily cash at 4.15% annual percentage yield when you open a high-yield savings account. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings accounts by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms apply.
You said that it's probably a good time to launch. What's the kind of current roadmap? When is the launch planned for?
Yeah, so we are targeting October for a soft launch. We've actually kind of released like a private alpha version of the game earlier, and we've been testing that with early supporters of Wildchain. And we've taken the feedback that we got, and we were supposed to release it last June, but we decided that we're going to kind of overhaul the game a little bit more, make it a lot more gamey, make it a lot more engaging. And we've been kind of rebuilding over the past few months, running up to October. Hopefully we launch like a kind of like a private beta version of the game where it would probably be invite only. We're hoping to kind of create like the clubhouse effect, right? Where everyone gets like a limited number of invitations and you can invite your friends to join, and hopefully, that's how we grow. We don't want to kind of like splash so much money into marketing and everything. I think it's something that we'd like to build organically. And we're not in a hurry to make it like to get to billions within the first 2-3 years.
Quick, of course.
Yeah. I think this is like a long-term game. So the first users coming in will help us learn, will help us redevelop the product. And the African Savannah is just the first of the biomes that we can begin with, right? And then we're going to take our learnings and we're going to build the second biome, which could be like sea life or ocean life, and then we can build like tropical forests. So we have kind of a lot of other biomes also to experiment. Absolutely. But we also hope that the first one works. But we are hopeful, but we are trying to be as realistic as possible. So it could take 8 years, it could take 10 years or longer, but I mean, the fate of the world depends on it.
Nothing big.
Yeah.
Do you have kind of also already kind of relationships in place with the conservation organizations that you can tell to the players where the money exactly goes and which animal is kind of the link between the animal?
So we did receive a little bit of funding from WWF. I think it was the Panda Labs team, I think based in Australia. And we did receive a bit of funding from UN Environment. We have talked to a few different conservation charities. We are planning to actually go to Africa and meet in person a lot of the different conservation initiatives working on the ground. So hopefully we're going to be doing that within maybe this year or next year. So because we actually haven't raised funds yet, there hasn't really been an urgent need for us to kind of like, finalize on the charities that we're going to work with. But we have been meeting up with a lot and talking to a lot. So hopefully we finalize that, within the next few months, I would say. But so far, the only thing that we've been doing is we've been funding reforestation projects. So even though we are just starting out, we wanted to kind of try partnering with reforestation projects and seeing how that works out. And so we have already been funding like reforestation, and reforestation is probably one of the things that we're focused on in the beginning, right? Because it's about protecting their habitats, but it's also kind of like creating this like ring of nature around that, right? Like expanding the forests.
Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. What kind of gives you confidence of success, or have you guys been doing something like this before? Have you been doing, I don't know, successful games platforms before? Or what's the background of the team?
This episode is brought to you by Klaviyo, the platform that powers smarter digital relationships. With Klaviyo, you can activate all your customer data in real time, connect seamlessly with your customers across all channels, guide your marketing strategy with AI-powered insights, recommendations, and automated assistance. Deliver experiences that feel individually designed at scale and grow your business faster. Power smarter digital relationships with Klaviyo. Learn more at klaviyo.com/Spotify. That's KLAVIYO.com/Spotify.
Well, actually, our team background actually has worked in multiple games, like a lot of popular games and a lot of kind of like big name games. That's like from the developer side and the game designer and the artist side. But actually, like for me myself, like my expertise has been social innovation, specifically like innovative fundraising solutions.
Innovative fundraising solutions. What are they? I mean, crowdfunding or what kind of?
So actually, I founded another social enterprise prior to Wildchain. It's called socialgiver.com, and what we do is we make travel impactful, right? We're kind of like Groupon for good. So when you buy travel deals on our platform, the money actually goes to fund social impact projects. And we've been funding primarily like education related projects for underprivileged kids. We've been funding like healthcare projects. We've been funding also nature conservation projects. So the idea is that a lot of the businesses like hotels, restaurants, spas, activities, events, they have a lot of spare services left. These spare services, if not utilized, kind of create zero value for them, zero value for basically anyone, right? So we work with them to create a corporate social responsibility solution where they give us a portion of their excess capacity. So unused rooms, right? Every year, let's say they give us 10 rooms or 20 rooms, and it's not gonna, impact them at all, right? It's just like 0.1% extra. So they give us these rooms, and it's an in-kind donation, right? And the problem with in-kind donations is like, if you just give it to a charity, it's useless, right? You give like a 5-star hotel room to animal rights group. It means nothing. So they give it to us, and then we basically sell it to raise funds, and we give the funds to the conservation the social projects that they choose. So that way, it makes it easier for them to give, because it's I've actually been in fundraising for a while, and one of the first problems that I realized was it was so hard to get money from these companies because they don't have a budget for it, or they didn't make enough profit that year, or it's just they don't want to give money. So what we do is, like instead of giving us money, give us your waste, right? And we turn this waste into corporate social responsibility. You look good, you get some extra PR, get some extra marketing, and you get to, I guess, donate money, and you get an extra customer who can come in and spend more money, on an extra night,
And if they like, they will come back and bring their friends,
exactly.
and everything grows.
Exactly. So it's a way of introducing new customers to their businesses as well. And the charity is happy because now they, so one of like the philosophy behind this idea is actually, and it's quite similar to Wildchain, right? One of the philosophy behind this idea is we don't want charities to only have to depend on donations, because donations is a very limited part of how we spend our money, right? You receive your paycheck at the end of the year, at the end of the month, you might donate like $10, $20, $30, right? Each month, and that would already be considered, like good, right? If you're donating like $30 a month, that's great. But actually, like you go out for a meal and you're already spending $30, and you're doing that like several times a week. And so that was like the question that I was asking is like, how do we convert consumer spending into funding for social impact, and that's kind of like what inspired this idea. And so what we're trying to do essentially is to increase the donations into the social sector, increase the funding for social impact without competing for donations, but instead by kind of like increasing the donation pie within the entire spending of the human race, basically. And with Wildchain, that's kind of similar. We're paying for entertainment. We're paying to collect art. We're paying to buy like digital tokens and everything. And how can we make that go to nature conservation? Like, how do we make that actually like go and help, I guess, buy the future of the earth, right? Like extend humanity's lifetime on earth and kind of prevent billions of people who are already living in poverty to actually be impacted and be displaced by climate change. And so, I mean, like for me, it when I think about it, it sounds like a no-brainer. And like instead of buying directly at the, I guess instead of booking your next hotel on, booking engines, if you just booked it on Social Giver, you could put a child through school for a year, or you could plant like 1,000 trees with just one transaction. So it's kind of like, if people were to actually think about like making the world a better place, then this is a better solution, and it's actually cheaper. They're not actually spending more money. We're actually saving them money, and they're making an impact. So that's kind of like what we've been building with Social Giver, and we have already like 500 corporations, like brands on board. We've got like some international chains. We've got like very great local restaurants, local hotels.
Globally or focused on Southeast Asia?
Only Thailand right now.
Thailand, okay.
Yeah. So Social Giver also has been bootstrapped, and we actually haven't raised a single round, and we've just been growing organically for 8 years. And it's we are thinking about like moving on to the next stage and starting to scale that, but there is a lot of limitations, and I've also been focused a lot on Wildchain. So I want to like launch this first and get this out first, and then maybe I'll spend a bit more time back at Social Giver.
But it makes a lot of sense on projects like Social Giver or Wildchain to be bootstrapped. Because if Wildchain would be launched by some greedy VC fund, it wouldn't really look that good.
Yeah, that is true, and that is actually one of the challenges with raising funds for Social Giver, which is like investors would be asking about the profit, right? And We're actually a non-profit. It's a social enterprise, so it's registered as a company. We have like a social enterprise license, but we don't take profit from that. And so investors are always asking us about the profit, and we're like, no, there'll be no dividends. The value of the company will increase, hopefully, but there will not be dividends. And so it will just be kind of like a token of your contribution to raising like millions for charities every year. Yeah.
Not the most classical VC proposal.
Yeah. So I mean, if you know, like we are looking for more like philanthropic investors. So we're looking for, I mean, both for Social Giver and Wildchain, we're looking for investors who want to make their dollar go further, instead of like donating money and kind of like it's like a one-time use thing.
Exactly.
Like the idea is like you can put money into like Wildchain or Social Giver and have it grow in impact every single year, right? Like have it result in millions being raised and donated to, you know, like worthy projects every year, each year, and that growing, you know, continuously. So it's not a one-time donation, and it's like a way to multiply your impact in the world. Yes. And as an impact investor myself, that's like how I look at it. Like I want my dollar to result in, you know, $10 being donated every year. Like I don't want my, you know, single donation to end there. I want it to grow and to multiply and to like make even bigger impact. And I guess that's why I'm spending my time doing like, you know, this.
So cool. Good luck with your projects, and good luck with a, you know, roughly October launch.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great time ahead for you.
Yeah. So just to kind of like add a little more.
Any call to action for the listeners?
Yeah. I mean, like you can start bidding on our NFTs. It's at wildchain.io. And if you plan to travel to Thailand anytime soon, then socialgiver.com. And, you know, feel free to email us, and kind of like we'll help you plan your trip and create like an amazing itinerary for you in Thailand. And for Wildchain, sign up, subscribe, because you can get early access to the game when we launch. And I'll see you in the wild.
Good stuff. I will definitely sign up.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Are you ready to write? Are you ready to become a published writer? Then tune in and take notes, because each week on Simply Write with Polly, we cover writing craft, the ins and outs of running a writing business, and we'll also hear from some big name authors about how they get their work done and published so that we can learn to do it too. Join us each week right here on the Creators Network of Electrocast for Simply Write with Polly.
Welcome to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing, where we harmonise your mind, body and soul. I'm Amanda, your sound therapy expert.
And I'm Stephen, the curious explorer uncovering the mysteries of sound.
Together we explore vibrations, frequencies and the power of sound therapy and tuning forks.
Discover ancient wisdom, reduce stress and tune into a healthier life. Subscribe to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing today.
Electrocast.